Welcome, guys. This is quite an honor for me having my son here, Trevor Wright, and Ian. It's awesome to have you guys here on the podcast, and I know Chris and I have been looking forward to this.
Absolutely, it's exciting.
It's really exciting, and I think to kick it off, I think our listeners want to hear about this big run you guys just had into the College Cup. I know. Just to set the stage a little bit, you guys are playing for Denver University, and you guys are three-year starters. Tremendous players in your positions. I know, Ian, you're a left back. Trevor, you're a left center back. But to set the stage, there's 206 Division I teams, right, that start the year. And they all want to get to this cup. And there's only 4 that make it to the actual cup. And this year, you guys were one of them. So 120 players. I think there's over 6,000 Division I players. There's only 120 left over, and you guys were a part of it. Just for our listeners, this is like less than a week ago. Talk about the experience and share with our listeners.
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having us. It was an incredible experience. It's probably the most fun I've ever had being a part of a team and making a historic run for the University of Denver. So, in hindsight, I just have to cherish that moment for now, and I'm just reflecting back on all the fun moments I had with my team and stuff. But it's definitely a grind. It was not easy. A lot of work was put into it to get to that point.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
If you really look at it, it came from a season of work. Like, to be the 3 seed and have all home games in the tournament, it was massive for us. Like, it was the first time you ever had that. Like, we're at home for 3 straight games, so you don't have to travel. You're not dehydrated for the games. You're sleeping in your own bed. So I think that also was massive for us to get there. And then you're playing big teams like Indiana, like who have 8 national championships. To knock them off was obviously huge for us. And then
massive,
making the College Cup, like Trev said, it's a great moment for us. The game didn't go our way. You give up 1 shot on goal and they score. Then you lose in PKs, which is a tough way to lose. But
yeah, so just for our listeners, you guys went in and you needed to play the University of Vermont, and that was a tremendous game. I know you guys are humble, but the first half was all yours. I think the shot count was 10-1, and then it evened out a little bit in the second half. But you guys had a lot of opportunities, didn't you?
Yeah. We did. The statistics show that we probably should have put away that game, but. Yeah. As both of you know, soccer's a cruel game, and it just didn't see fit towards the end.
Yeah.
Yep. So, but Vermont, they're a great team. I think they deserved to win it. They had some great players, players with a lot of experience. So, they definitely showed out in the final game as well. So, yeah.
Oh, it's great. It was fun for me to watch. Obviously, just seeing the 2 teams compete and following the run that you guys had, and like Ian said, the ability to play home, and every game there was more fans, and by the final game before you left for the College Cup, I think it was a record crowd. You could just feel the energy just when I was watching on TV. So it's really exciting, and you guys should feel really good about what you've accomplished, but still very hungry for everything what's to come.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, that's a great point. Tomorrow is going to be the MLS SuperDraft, and you guys are in that. So we'll see real quick which team wants to grab you guys and where you guys head off to, and it's gonna be great to see where you guys go. So I know we're super excited to see where your careers go. I want to make a transition from kind of this peak moment that you guys had just a week ago, and really for our listeners, right, and for our community. You don't just snap your finger, right? You just don't snap your finger and then all of a sudden you become this great player. Would you guys? It's just basic, right? It's just
100%.
It's like a fact. But I'd like for you to go back. You guys are great players. You guys have achieved a lot. Tomorrow's the draft for you guys. I want you guys to take us through your journey of how you became the player you are today, and what you needed to do to kind of get to this mountain that you've climbed to the top with the College Cup. So take us back and kind of show us this journey of how to become the best player you could be. Because we have a lot of parents, a lot of players saying, what could I be doing to try and make myself even better? but they want to hear your story so maybe they can put it in part of their story. So take it from there.
Yeah, I can lead off. So I'm not sure how the youth kind of works out now. Is it kind of rec and then it goes into like a competitive stage around like U11? Is that
Kind of rec and then junior academy, competitive soccer.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess it's all the same. So basically, when I was younger, I was coached by you, obviously, and I think that was a big advantage to start. And pretty much, I think the most important thing at that stage of our youth careers was just playing, just rolling the ball out and playing, just having fun. As long as you have fun in the beginning, that's the most important thing. Yeah, I think that was the biggest thing for me. And then really the first time I was introduced to tactics was whether it was futsal or 3v3. And you can kind of see the relevancy in 3v3 today, just playing in triangles and stuff. Like that's huge on the 11v11
What
field.
what is 3v3? I don't think it's across the entire country. So tell us what it is. What is 3v3?
This is Mr. 3v3 right here. You need that.
Yeah,
What is it? What is
it's
it?
like a
Ian?
small field, and it's just like it's 3v3, like smaller goals. There's a box that you can't step in, and so basically you can't just stand in the goal and block.
But it's
all these
organized.
shots.
This
Yeah,
is
yeah.
an organized like league that you would do outside of your traditional.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was
So
I still
what
do
is
it
that?
to this day. I
So
go
what?
over
So
summer and
tell the
play.
listener what it is. Like you actually go and you form team. Tell them.
Yeah, so you have 6 players. That's the most you can have, and so you go into these tournaments and you have obviously group stage, kind of like regular, like you're playing 3 group stage games, and then you're going to a semifinal and final, and it's like I don't know, pretty small field, but it's like how we play at DU now. All we talk about is triangles, making sure we're in triangles. You always have options to play, and
Right.
obviously when you plan that since you're 6, 7 years old, when it comes to an 11v11 game, you're much better at it,
conception, and you have much more space, obviously,
Exactly.
as well. It makes things much
and your
easier.
brain is kind of thinking different. Like
Right.
playing on the left side with Trev and Sam Bassett, who you guys know, and Ben Smith, like we're always in a triangle. So like you're basically playing 3v3 on an 11v11 field.
Right.
Okay.
And another big thing about the 3v3 is you can't hide. Like you're always matched up with someone. And so a lot of times you have to win your matchup. And so like a lot of kids growing up have this fear of, winning a 1v1 matchup, or they're scared of their opponent and that sort of thing. I think that kind of nullifies a lot of that growing up, and it helps build confidence as a young player.
Yeah.
So was this 3v3, was it provided through the club you actually played for? Or is this something supplemental that you yourself went and found outside of the club environment?
Yeah, I mean, it's a different organization. I think it's Kick It.
Yeah, it's called Kick It.
Yeah, Kick It 3v3. I know it was pretty huge back in the day, but I'm not sure now.
Yeah, now there's not many people that play it anymore. Like not even little kids. Like
Except
they used to
for
be
Ian.
like, yeah, I still play with my little brother. It's
Well,
so much fun.
Ian, that's a good point because it's revived itself. It just got purchased. 3v3 Kick It got purchased. It's got a whole new capital investment. It's on the rise again. And there was 3v3 Live, if you guys remember it. There were 2 leagues. There was Kick It. There was 3v3. And we would actually prepare for these tournaments. And we would actually go rent space out, Chris. Like at, I think it was Lifetime, if you remember. They had a turf field, and we would get our teams together, and we would have 3v3 night that we'd bring everybody, and it was almost like we were just playing all the time,
great.
having a good time, and you guys loved it, and then you would win these tournaments to a point where you guys were so good, you ended up traveling, and you would try and win this thing in Disney World.
Yeah,
It's great. I think there too, when you're playing, it's smaller space, however, tons of pertinent touches, having a lot of fun. And obviously that'll correlate when you get back into your team environment. And once again, we talk about a bigger field, more space, feel like you have more time. Yeah. But with all those touches, feel more comfortable, more confident on the ball. So
Yeah.
well, also the smaller goal, like you can't just smash the ball at the goal. You kind of got to figure out how to place the ball
Right.
around a defender and stuff. And
is there a little area where you can't step inside,
Yeah,
like
you
to
can't.
protect
Yeah,
the ball?
yeah,
So
yeah,
obviously it's
exactly.
field
Yeah.
players without
Yeah.
a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
You can't just have some kid just sit in the
just
goal.
sit there.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so this is interesting because I know both you guys have kind of played outside the United States and gone and had fun in Costa Rica. This 3v3 concept, you kind of saw this. Why don't you tell the audience what it looks like to do Futsinco? What's that? Yeah, down there. It's a very similar concept.
Yeah, I mean, this is where I think the world kind of has an advantage on the United States is they kind of go into smaller numbers, but at older ages. And so foot cinco is something in Costa Rica. It's 5v5, and you basically just roll a ball out and play. And I mean, all the same rules as a normal game, except you're just in a smaller space. And like sometimes like the walls are like harder walls, and you can like play the ball with them. But a lot of times it's just like a normal field. If you kick the ball out, then you have to kick it back in and you play. But basically, there's, once again, triangles all over the field. Yeah. Instead of 3, there's 5 this time, and it's more of a confined space. And I think it's a huge advantage. I think that's where you see the skill come out, physicality, all that stuff is introduced kind of to those players that play foot cinco more so than if you were to just play 11v11 at a younger age.
So is it inside like a cage? It's like a rink, or how
yeah, the ones we've played in,
it's like a net.
It's like
kind
a
of
net.
like a box net.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it hits a net, you set it and replay, or
Yeah, but it's
continue
a net.
to
There's
play?
it's like a field, and then you just put the
Okay.
ball and you pass it back in.
see.
Yeah, so it's synthetic. So it's a synthetic field. They just prop it up on a bunch of like cinder blocks. They fence it in with a netting, and they put a goal down.
Let's go.
And what's awesome is, and Ian, you went and saw it for the first time. You start going down dirt roads, and you have no idea where this thing exists in
Yeah.
Costa Rica. I mean, we're talking like
You're
we're
like
in the
middle
jungle.
of the jungle.
We're in the jungle. I mean, dogs are laying in the street when
Yeah.
we're driving. They don't
Yeah.
move. You got to drive your car around a dog,
Yeah.
and then you go up and down, and like you're back in this jungle, and then all of a sudden, poof, up comes this like some lights, and they've got a synthetic field with nets around it, and we're like, "Where's our opponent?" They never show up until 5 minutes, and they always zip in on like mopeds. Their cleats are on the back. They hop off, and they're like, "Let's go play."
Let's
They
go.
don't even warm up. They just go, "Let's go play." It's
great.
crazy.
That's awesome.
Like think about those pictures of like Brazil, like street.
Sure.
It's like that, but with turf.
Right.
Basically. And a funny story is like when we go out there, we always say like when we're playing the locals, we're always like, we're from U.S., like we'll beat you guys, and so we always play like us
Always
against
personal.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like 8-7. We haven't lost to them yet, but it's always fun.
And we got the
Get-
local
get
pro
after
team that
it,
was in the
yeah.
Division 2 to come out, and they put their best players on the pitch, and we played them. That was fun.
And is
I
is
wanna-
it like a scenario? Just last question. So do you
Yeah.
get there and maybe have multiple teams and winner stays on or anything like that, or is it just
You get an hour, and you got 1 hour. They come down for the hour, and they might have like 12 players, and they'll put 5 out now, and we only show up with like
Okay.
six.
So
And,
just a
and we have to
continuous-
get a goalie. Like one time, we had to pull the goalie. He was out of the Mercado. He was in the
Good.
store, and he's like, "I play goalie." I'm like, "Wait, dude, you got to come with us because we don't have a goalie."
right?
So fun.
great.
It's hilarious, man.
I mean, even if you look in Europe, like I'm pretty sure in Germany they call them Boltzplatz.
Yeah,
And like
you're right.
it's just prevalent everywhere. So it's not just like it's in Latin America or down in Brazil. Like there's places in Europe where, countries have these things that help their youth development a lot.
Sure.
And so kind of going back to my youth thing, like all this builds experience and more so confidence for me to be the player I am on the 11v11 field and ultimately kind of show out when I need to show out and that sort of thing. So that was a big part of my youth.
Yeah.
So
Ian, what about you? We had this young team. Chris, I'm going to tell a quick story about Ian because it's funny.
I'm ready.
Trevor's on it. Trevor's on a team that I'm coaching, and I'm playing against Ian's team. I think they're 6 or 7 years old. I've never seen him before, Ian and his family. And we're off on this small pitch, and I think we're playing 5v5 or 6v6 because you always play in small little teams when you're little. And it was just right before junior academy, so they hadn't sorted everything out. So it was still sort of rec, but everyone was trying to position for the better rec team so you get picked for the academy. It kind of works that way. Well, anyways, we had a pretty good team, and you had a pretty good team. And there was this kid, and it's Ian. There's this kid. He gets the ball, and he's got this bandana on his head, like wrapped over his head, around his head, and he gets the ball, and he's just slicing down the middle with his left foot. And I'm like, look at that kid go. And I said, that kid's fantastic. And we were just getting on that transition period where we needed to add some kids. And I think the moms talked, and somehow you got on our team. So anyways, that was a great moment when I saw you for the first time because you decided to put this rag on your head and you were darting around. It was just awesome. Like you were just ready to go. You remember that?
Yeah, funny story. Like Miss Chrissy like emailed my mom And my mom was like, hey, you want to go to a new team? And I'm like 6 or 7, so I'm not like thinking about what it is. I was like, sure. Like just leaving all my friends, and I show up one day and I have no clue who anybody is. So, but it obviously was like one of the best decisions I've ever made because I was getting coached by my mom and dad who don't know anything about soccer. My dad
Right.
grew up wrestling, playing football, like they don't know anything about soccer. My mom coached me. She was in track. So just getting to go to a team where Mr. Wright was coaching and actually have knowledge of the game helped me grow a lot as a player.
That's
and then
great.
you play 3v3. You play with guys that are better than you. That's also a massive thing about getting better is being around people that want to be better. If you're around people
That's
that
a big deal.
don't really
sure.
care, and then you're not going to care.
That's
It's
a
like the
big
people that
deal.
you're around.
Absolutely. Get guys with similar mindsets and kind of that competitive spirit, and
Yeah.
they like to have fun as well.
Exactly.
And I think one thing I want to just bring out is that I think club soccer and the U.S. soccer development is an excellent thing. I think they're doing a great job because they recognize that hey, they're at the rec level. You know, there's some kids that just want to stay and have fun, and there's some kids that are excelling and they want more, like you just said. And so that's why they form kind of at an early stage this junior academy competitive where there's more like-mindedness and the coaching can be brought in. So I think they're doing a good job there. What do you think, Chris?
Absolutely. No, I think it's at the same time there's kids that are excelling and maybe need more and want to continue to be challenged. So if you can find a group of players that, fits that criteria in those categories and get them in a collective group in a team atmosphere, then I think it bodes well for everyone. Everyone's kind of on the same page and,
Yeah.
same mindset, aspirations, these types of things. So
Yeah.
which for me at the same time for you guys, we're talking about, Mike happened to identify you throughout, just with the youth teams and whatnot. But to see where that initially was, my question then, you guys continued to play, develop and whatnot. At what point did you realize that? I mean, were you playing other sports? Did you ever have to make a decision between various sports? When did you really kind of own in that soccer was something you love to do, want to continue to pursue and be the best you could become?
I mean, I think soccer for us was getting to the point where it was like soccer it was at that level where they had to like make a cutoff between soccer and other sports. And so the coaches kind of made that clear for us. And I know we both loved basketball. We used to play on the same team.
Right.
And we would have loved to play for our high school, even play soccer for our high school. But it just wasn't viable for the time commitment that we were putting in.
Right.
And at the time, it was called the Academy. There's a bunch of academies kind of around the country, and we happened to play for one called Real Colorado.
Okay.
And so the coaches kind of made it clear that, hey, this needs to be your major time commitment. And so that kind of meant pushing the other sports out the window and just going solely with the academy.
Okay.
I will add one thing on that is I think playing other sports like helps a lot. Like basketball, you're kind of just learning like you're in a 5v5 instead of like soccer where we were 6v6, 11v11. Also, like a lot of injuries happen to these like young kids because they're playing one sport. They only want to play soccer, so they're hurting their knees because their body's in weird positions. Like if you play basketball, your body's doing an entire different thing than what you're doing in soccer.
Right.
If you're playing baseball, like your body's in these weird positions, so you're getting used to these things. Like if you're playing one sport and your body's in a position that you're not used to, like that's how injuries happen, So for me and Trev, we played so many sports growing up that like we're just used to so many different movements that like injuries don't happen.
Ian, you said something that resonates a lot with me, which is the complementary when you have basketball and soccer, how they complement one another. I couldn't agree more with you. When I grew up, I was a big basketball player, a point guard, and I also played a lot of soccer at a high level. And I can't tell you how much it really helped me. A simple example is the back cut in basketball. When you cut forward and you do the back cut, and you got to bounce pass it to the player. Well, there's so much of that happening in soccer, right? All of a sudden you check, but then you take off and there's a through ball. But you've got to have the right weight on the ball and the pass with your hands as well as with your feet. And you've got to be able to judge the angle of where you play the ball and the speed in which you play it, all that. And so you're using your hands at a young age, but then later on you're using your feet to do the same thing. So it's already in your brain about how to do it. I think the two sports that match up perfectly in my mind is basketball and soccer, especially at a young age. I couldn't couldn't. I agree 100% with what you said there. It's a great meshing of two sports.
So in saying that and hearing that, you talk about coaches saying you need to become more specialized. At that point, something as far as tactics or other parts, important, critical components of the game, are those starting to be introduced, or, the sports performance, these types of things? What did that look like for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, with our academy, I don't think we really just focus on, being super technical. I think we were all just gamers, and it all just kind of worked that way. Like, we knew how to win. Like, our training sessions were kind of put out to us as if we were always in competition. I think that helped us a lot and stuff, and so we always would find a way to win. So whenever we played these other academies and stuff, like, we didn't really even think about tactics. Like, yes, we knew how to play in our formation and stuff like that, but we were just gamers, so we'd always try to find the advantage on the field and whatnot. And so, like, the first time that I was really thinking about my decision before I got the ball, like proactive positioning and all that stuff, was really when I got to college. So just that sort of thing. But, playing basketball and, like, knowing, like, a set of plays, like dribbling the ball down the court, like, I think prepared me for that moment. And, having proactiveness and making different decisions, like, as I'm in the game,
Right.
was definitely helpful when I was, like, playing basketball. So when I got to DU, it kind of reminded me of the game of basketball a little bit. But I think if I was in, like, an MLS academy, I think they provide a lot more tactical solutions, like in game and stuff and that sort of thing. And I think that just resonates from, having a professional team and have that trickle down effect down to the coaches. So I think when you're in an MLS academy, yes, it's a bit more tactical, but in the academy I was in, it was just all competition all the time, every training session. But I think that helped me a lot, and it also helped me love the game a lot more. So,
I have a question for you guys. It's going to come at it a little bit differently. We know you guys are in the academy. You said you're at Real. But for the listeners out there and even players or parents, the academy is going to give you the 4 trainings a week, and you're going to do all the things you just mentioned. You're going to compete. You're going to do the drills, all that stuff. That's going to be laid out. What did you do outside of that to make yourself a better player? Because we know you're going to get 4 trainings. We know you're going to have a good coach. But that coach can't do everything he needs for you. It's just physically impossible. You can't just go to each player and say, I'm going to put 4 hours here and 6 hours with that player. You just can't do it. So what did you have to do? And I want to hear from both of you guys. What did you both have to do to make yourself the best you could be with your DNA?
The biggest thing for me, I think, is just, like, the love for the game. Like, I live right across the street from a field. So me and my little brother would always go play over there because we just love playing soccer. And I think looking back, like, I just did it because it was fun, but that's how you grow the most. Like, we were just out there dribbling a ball, passing a ball. Like, you're just getting touches that you're not getting at practice. So you're just getting extra repetitions. So that's massive. You don't think about it because you're just out there having fun, but that's where I think I grew the most. And Trev was out there with me. All of our buddies were out there playing because this is a big soccer field and we just mess around, but that's where you're getting the touches.
yeah. And then for me, Ian and I kind of did this at the same time, but we did, like, sports performance.
Okay.
I think it was our sophomore year of high school. I think that was a perfect time to do that just because we were kind of maturing into our bodies and stuff. And I think that helped us get an advantage over the rest of the kids our age, just physically and just, like, knowing your body and coming to know your body through maturity and stuff like that. So it was a huge advantage, especially on the 11s field.
Well, I want to dive into that a little further because I want to go into the sports performance and how specific you guys were getting your training. So talk about, you guys became very strong. You worked on your cuts. The way you would run, the way you're balanced, the way you would cut, the way you'd come out of turns, explosive movements. Get into some details for our listeners to say, this is, like, big. This is a big thing big topic we're talking about here.
The one thing I'd add is at Real, they give us, like, places to go. Like our team would go and lift together, but it's not like that's not enough. Like you're not really getting the lifts that you need to. So me and Trev would go to another place to get lifts in as well. And like you said, like it helps a lot to have somebody know what sport you're in. So the guy we were working with, like obviously knew that we were soccer players. Like we need to have acceleration. Like we need to have strength in our lower body more so than our upper body as kids. Because if you build up your strength in your legs, like obviously your upper body will build. Yeah. And I think knowing that, like our trainer knowing that helped us a lot because we were there for 3-4 years with him. And obviously COVID, you're lifting, you don't have school, so you're lifting 3-4 times a week.
That's great. And as far as that, it sounds like it's more individualized. Like if you go with your team somewhere and there's just a collective workout that everyone goes through, you know, it's not necessarily exactly what you need, Trevor, you need Ian. So the gentleman or the gal, whoever you worked with outside on the sports performance piece, was able to look at your body, figure out what your ideal needs were, and then design something specifically for you to excel in those areas. Yeah, and that's great. I think it's super important because you talk about maturing. You know, you go through growth spurts and, you know, you can become gangly and awkward, a little, you know, less coordinated. Yeah. So I think that's a huge component.
And another thing that the sports performance aspect helps a lot with is prevention of injury. So since we were kind of getting more individualized with our trainings, we got to focus on our cutting and the right technique and all that stuff. And I mean, all that I think helped tremendously. Totally. We were rarely injured and stuff. Yeah. And so, it was a big help, especially in like 1v1 situations as well. Like you'd feel confident, like going at someone with your speed, your physicality, and you knew that you're going to have a quicker cut than them as well. So, all that was a huge help.
So for me, you just mentioned something, confidence. You know, it all boils down to mindset, and your mind controls your body. For you guys, you know, how important was your, like, two things, ability to, if you ever experienced failure, how did you rebound? What were your techniques to deal with failure or some type of setback? And then on the other side of the fence, when things were going right, what did you do to continue to sustain that? These are two, you know, opposite ends of the spectrum, but super interesting.
I think for me, like when I first found adversity was when I was 14. Like I was on the academy team at Real, and I got dropped to ECNL, like the second team. And I think that was really tough for me because I'd been playing with those guys for 6-7 years, and then you get dropped to a team and you like kind of lose confidence in yourself. Like, oh, I'm not that good of a player, you know? But I think I went and played high school, so it was my freshman year. Okay. And it kind of changed everything for me, changed my perception on why I was playing. Like I played it for fun, you know? Like when I got dropped, I didn't realize that I played soccer just because I loved the sport. So going and playing high school, I figured that out again. And then after 6 months, I was back up on the DA team. Like I think it's just realizing that, like I thought everyone was against me in that moment at the club. Like, oh, right. These guys don't like me. Like these coaches don't think I'm good. But it's really that people are trying to make you better. Like realizing in the moment, like that, okay, like I need to get better.
Right.
It's not that people are against me. It's something that I need to do.
Sure.
It's not being external and blaming other people. It's just being like, I need to get better.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Trev?
And then for me, so I had a bit of a different path than Ian. So I was kind of around the same age, but I went to a different team. I played at Rapids for 1 year, and that was probably the best academy team I was ever a part of. I mean, they had Cole Bassett and a bunch of other players that went on to play pro.
Right.
And, you know, I shot my shot, and I tried to, you know, get on that team and play and impress a couple of the coaches at Rapids and try to create a pro path for myself. But ultimately, I mean, it just didn't work. Like I was probably rated as one of the players on the bottom half of the team, and it was a pretty large roster. So there was times when I just wasn't traveling and just wasn't playing with that team, and that obviously hurt my confidence a lot, I think, in a couple ways. But I think the biggest thing that I did was I found my starting point. I knew what I was good at, but then I figured out that, okay, here are the things I need to work on. And I really took a lot of attention to detail and just grinded those couple of months and weeks, and also like asked my coach a lot of questions and like how can I improve this, and like what else do you see, like what else can I add to my game to help me you know, create an overall better player. and stuff like that. So asking questions and putting your head down, working, knowing where your starting point is and figuring out what you need to work on was all huge to becoming the player I am today.
That's great.
So,
That's awesome.
yeah. And like one of the quotes I heard just going online is like, when you think you're buried in a moment like that, like sometimes like people may think that's their funeral, but a lot of times like you're seated at that point. So like the way you sprout out is, it's just working hard and just finding out who you really are in that moment.
That's great. So basically going through all that, and then now you are having success and you're continuing to develop, play at a high level. What are your techniques or mechanisms to keep that in place, to sustain it, on a daily basis? Because obviously the higher you climb, the more intense it becomes and everything that goes with that. So what do you guys do individually to focus on that?
Yeah, so I think in college when I first got there, I was a lot like this, like up and down, up and down. And I think as I got older, I realized that it's just trying to stay consistent. So I think when I was a freshman, I used to judge myself a lot if I had a bad game or if I had a good game. And now, like my junior, senior, these last 2 years, I've kind of realized, like, okay, if I had a bad game, why did I have a bad game?
Right.
Or if I had a good game, why did I have a good game? Instead of putting like all my marbles into one basket, if I had a bad game and not realizing why and just being upset at myself. Now I kind of look at film, I watch film and realize, okay, that's why I had a good game. Or, okay, these are the mistakes I made that I need to clean up to be at my best.
And oftentimes as a player, it's the self-reflection piece. It's not always the easiest, but it's super important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I want to add to that self-reflection point. Just something I know that I've seen some great coaches make some points about. I used to do it as a player. I'm sure you did too when you were playing, but I want you guys to talk about it. There's this maturity around the self-reflection point. When we think about self-reflection, our listeners are thinking at the end of the game, you're doing that, but you're actually self-reflecting inside the game about what's going well, what's not going well, and you're checking yourself throughout a game.
Absolutely.
Which I think are people that want to learn how to become better. You just don't get in the game and say, okay, whatever happens, happens. It's like, what are you doing well right now? I can do more of that. And what are things that aren't working that I need to get rid of real quick or fix? Do you guys do that when you're in those big games, that Vermont game, the Indiana game that was around? Talk about that.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty high level of soccer. Like a lot of times, especially at the lower levels, like if it's not your day, it's not your day, and that sort of thing. But
That's how they think.
yeah, but as I've played under Jamie Franks and Brad Franks and just the DU coaching staff, they're big on problem solving, especially like with their leaders on the team. And so like towards the end, like the back half of our season, we'd a lot of times break the bigger games down into 15-minute increments.
There you go.
And so like we knew that a team was maybe desperate, coming out at half because they're down 2-0. So maybe we have to play more safe than risk and that sort of thing. So there's a strategy that kind of goes behind that and breaking the game down to increments. But we would do that sometimes, and we'd always kind of check ourselves. Okay, hit the 30-minute mark now. Is it time to push the game, or should we just keep playing a possession style of game?
Right.
And go ahead, yeah.
I was just going to say, you talk about as leaders, and both of you guys were co-captains of the DU squad. So obviously you have a great pulse on the team, but a lot of responsibility as well. So when it comes to that leadership component, tell us a little bit more about that, how that looked, what it entailed and all.
I think it's just like you got to realize like you're not focused on yourself anymore. Like you got to focus on more of your teammates and, like you said, the pulse of the team during games. So, for example, like you're against Indiana, you're up 1-0, and they're pushing the game, like they're trying to get a goal. Like, how do you just keep everybody locked in on something instead of like yelling at refs or
Right.
like freaking out on the ball? Like, I think the biggest thing for me and Trev in that moment of the game and those moments of the games is just keeping everybody relaxed because they're throwing the ball in our box, like long throws, like corner kicks.
Right.
Like, how can you just, like you said, 15-minute increments of like, okay, when we get the ball, put it in the channel. Like, and we'll get out. So I think it's just the biggest part of leadership on the field, like during games, is making sure everybody's a collective and knowing what to do. Like, we're all on the same page.
Yeah. And not only that, like other guys on your team, especially maybe some younger guys, are looking up at you and your body language. So like how you're handling a tough moment and how you're resilient in that moment could be huge on how the game plays out.
Yeah,
So,
and I think the game that you're talking about is it's great because that's the moment to shine and show your leadership. But so much of this leadership to get to that point is being done in the locker room, being done, let's say, how you guys handle your homework. Talk about the process. I mean, the game is a big moment because that's where it's all showing, right? But what's it look like to lead the team and to make sure that they follow you? What are you guys doing in college? Like, talk about that process. I mean, maybe you're on a leadership committee. I don't know. Tell the listeners all the work you put in up to the game.
yeah. I mean, if you're going to be a leader and wear the armband, like, you're held at the highest standard. And a lot of times, like, in order to be a leader and be a part of the leadership committee is what our team kind of calls it, leadership group. You have to be, like, so-called obsessed with the game. And I'd say we were obsessed with the game. Like, we would meet with the coaches almost every other day about the team and, like, what we could give to the team and how the coaches could give to us. And we were very connected with our coaching staff. So taking the extra time out of your day to make sure that the team's running well and, like, off the field,
Right.
And that sort of thing. So, and then homework and on, in just a day of training, like, you're held to the highest standard and everyone looks to you to maybe carry the session sometimes. Maybe the team, comes out a little bit slow, a little bit quiet. Like, everyone kind of looks to you to kind of bring that energy and carry that session.
And there's certainly different types of leaders. Some are more vocal and rah-rah, where others just lead by example.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure between the two of you, and there was a third captain as well.
Ben Smith.
So you guys probably had a lot of those bases covered.
Well, what about you, Ian?
I just think people don't follow you just because you're a good player. Like, I think that's what I've noticed my entire, like, career in soccer. Like,
Yeah,
I've been a leader growing up. Like, people don't just follow you because you're a good soccer player. Like, people see you're a good soccer player, but they're not going to listen to you. They're not going to follow you. I think you got to show that with your work, your everyday work. Like, me and Trevor are in the gym every single day, lifting, getting stretching in, like, in the training room every morning, like, taking care of our bodies. Like, that's true leadership, like, doing the right things every single day. And the younger guys on our team are watching that and realizing, okay, like, these guys give everything to this team and this program. So then they'll follow us because they're like, okay, like, I can trust these guys and know that they're going to give everything.
Right.
And being a leader as well doesn't mean that you're playing. Like, one of the best leaders, if not the best leader on our team, is a guy who barely got minutes this season. He would always come out with the most energy, and he would make sure that, like, even though the first team is, like, kind of doing a scout session, that he would, like, get the second team guys ready so that they would kick our butts on that day so that we would kind of see how the game would be like.
Sure.
And that sort of thing. So he would make sure everybody was focused, had high energy, and was just ready on the day. And even though he didn't play, he was always the guy, like, not taking any shortcuts. So
Can I just you said the word shortcuts. Okay? And I really want to just drill into this a little bit when it comes to recruiting a player to college. When these college coaches come out, and you hear stories.
yeah,
When these college coaches come out and they are on the sidelines, because you're hearing now the story of how someone got recruited or how you got recruited. So you can share your experience or what you hear and how it kind of works. But the coaches are trying to build the best roster they can for college, right? They want to win games. Yeah. They want to create a great culture. They want great student athletes, great leaders. They want these leaders to go into communities and just flourish, right? So they're out now looking at, let's say, kids that are 14, 15, 16, 17, and they're sitting on the sidelines. And you use the word shortcuts, and they're saying, how does this kid fit in? Talk to me about what you guys know and how they recruited you, what you hear about recruits that are kids that were great, but they didn't come to DU. But this is probably similar to, like, all the great programs. These coaches think the same. Talk to the kids that are 14, 15, both female, male players. I mean, talk about that.
For me, like, me and Trev grew up playing with a lot of good players. And I think when you're good as a kid, you can take shortcuts. And you look at where me and Trev are now, like, getting drafted, and you look at the other guys that just had talent, they're done with college, they're done with soccer. And I think just realizing it's the everyday processes and what you do, like, how you train every day. Like at Real, we'd practice as hard as we could every single day, just because that's what we were put into, competition. Like you want to win every single day.
Right.
And yeah, we might not know all the tactics and stuff that comes with the game, but you knew we were going to bring the fight every single day and get into each other.
Grit's a huge part of the game.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, every college coach, like sometimes you may think you're getting away with something, but you're really not. Like,
Well, they look at your body language or look at what?
yeah, body language. Yeah, I'll never forget. So this is the main story that Jamie even brings up to me today is we lose in the quarterfinals of the DA Cup, and Jamie said that the last 20 minutes I already looked like I was defeated, even though we were still in the game. It was still 1-1, and we lost in the final 2 minutes. But he said my body language would always contributed to the loss of that game because everyone looked around and saw me as considered a leader on that team, having, my chest low, my head down, and all that stuff. And he said that detail was huge because it killed the morale of the team. So like they're looking at everything.
Sure.
And then even with recruiting wise, like Jamie said, sometimes he'll peek into some cars and see if your car's clean, see if it's a little messy. You kind of gets a feel for the player and that sort of thing. He sees who's shagging balls, who's picking up balls, who's carrying the balls to games and stuff.
When
and
you get subbed, you throw a tantrum.
Yeah, I mean, he
you
looks at all that, man.
Another funny story is
yeah.
his wife works at my high school, Jamie's,
Yeah.
and he would call my teachers and ask him how I was as a student. So my teachers would be like, "Oh, Jamie Franks is calling me about you."
Yeah,
Like,
that's good. I always heard this. You guys were doing fitness, and he'd watch guys that would actually cut corners. And he's like, that's an indication right there that this guy's not really getting the fitness in. He just wants to cut some corners. Because at the end of the day, they're making a 4-year commitment with you, and you guys are a family, and all of a sudden you might have this problem on your hands. They don't want that.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting me jump in there.
Yeah,
What-
no.
you
I
had
was just
another
going to add to
question?
that. Like, if someone's cutting corners or taking shortcuts and you let that creep into your program, I mean, that can manifest, and then you have a massive problem. So, they're troubleshooting. They're trying to weed that out, going into that scenario.
So one of the things you guys keep talking about is how people might have pointed some things out, and you guys take that in, but then you become better because of it. That in our world is a growth mindset.
Yeah.
Talk about that versus the other way you might have seen how you might have seen something or other players have seen it. Like talk to young kids about what a growth mindset is, like how you can take criticism, work it, and then all of a sudden you become better. So you want to grow from it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of easy in today's day and age to kind of, take information and feel like someone's like coming after you and stuff like that. I think kind of society allows that a lot, but having a growth mindset in that moment is not just taking how they say it, but just taking the information in and just being like, okay, like what are they trying to say to me here? And like, how can I take the root of what they're trying to say and turn it out for good?
Right.
And I think that took me a couple years to understand. I think my freshman year in college, I don't think I handled that well. I think I'd talk back at times, and I think that never works out for anybody.
Right.
On both sides. So
Only hurting yourself in
exactly.
that instance.
Yeah, exactly. So, but once you kind of just hold yourself accountable and try to really figure out what the other person is saying to you, whether it's a teammate, coach, or friend, you can really grow from that, especially from the people that you trust.
I think that also comes back to being a leader. Like if you're in the film room in front of the team and you make a mistake and Jamie's like, oh, like yelling at you, and you like take it bad, like all the young guys see that you're taking it bad, and then they're gonna take it bad when they get older. So for us, like it was like realizing that Jamie's pissed, but he's not mad. Like he knows we're good players. Like he just doesn't want us to make that mistake again.
And at the end of the day, he's trying to teach and coach and provide something that's valuable, not personally attacking you.
Yeah.
Trying to bring value. And I think as a player, when you internalize something and you feel put off or like on the spot, maybe your initial reaction or immediate feelings are like, why is this guy coming at me? And you're defensive. Whereas with that growth mindset, when you can learn to ingest what they're saying, whether you agree with it or not at that moment, and hear them out, and then later process the information. At the end of the day, he's just trying to help you, trying to coach you up and make you become a better player.
And you have many different coaches that I guess, give information in many different ways. Like
Right.
at Real, you have 6 or 7 coaches throughout your career, and we had coaches that would just scream at us, and then you have coaches that like tell you, like not in like a yelling manner, but just tell you what you need to get better, and you got to figure out how to deal with both those, because throughout your life you're gonna have people, whether it's in a job, whether you're a pro soccer player, you're gonna get yelled at some point for making a mistake, and are you gonna take that and learn from it, or are you gonna take that and, like you said, be defensive and I didn't make that mistake, and
100%.
not take it.
And oftentimes young players, they think if they hear something they don't want to hear and their body language or posture becomes poor, that, I'm going to stick it to the coach. At the end of the day, they're actually making the situation much worse for themselves. And I think in due time, they'll realize that, that's not the right avenue to take.
And I'd say before the college setting and like during the academy, or whether it's high school or the youth age, like let's say like you have that moment where you feel like you cost your team the game and that sort of thing, and you feel down about it. Like I would recommend not to, just forget about it and pretend it never happened, but really break that play down and say like, okay, like how can this never happen again? Like what details will I refine in order for me to like prevent this mistake from happening again? I feel like that's a common theme that younger players miss a lot. So
Yeah. So I asked the question earlier about how are you guys taking the club experience and then supplementing around that? Do you guys find yourself going out and trying to polish your game? I mean, you guys are mature players now. And so as a collegiate athlete, just finding a little bit of time to say, I need to work on something, or you recognizing it. Do you find yourself polishing your game, or you just use the training session, or how does that work?
I mean, I think for me, like, I've met with Brad Franks. Like,
He's your assistant coach.
Yeah, he's the assistant coach at DU. I meet with him every week, once a week, and I clip film and I go up there, and like we were talking about, like 3v3, like he cut the board in like 1/3. He was like, "This is where you and Sam are playing. You're 2v2 the entire game." Like, and they both know. Jamie and Brad both know I love basketball. They're like, it's like a 2v2 basketball game. Like play like it's a 2v2 basketball, and like you're passing and moving. And so I think for 4 years you're learning like that, and they drilled that into me. And so when you talk about the College Cup and success of the College Cup, it didn't just come in 1 year. We started when I was a redshirt freshman, and we built all the way up to this team that we had and their style of play. Like it's 4 years of a foundation that was brick by brick every single day. Everybody, 11 guys wanting to be the best, like 14, 15 guys that wanted to be there and win a national championship. And we fell short, but having 14 or 15 guys like love the game and want to be better, that's a winning culture. Like that's how you win games, is you have a bunch of guys that want to be better, and end of the day you're going to win games.
And you mentioned the word culture, and that's a big word and can be deciphered many ways. What does culture mean to you guys, especially how it existed and being part of the leadership group? What did it look like at DU, and how important was it for your guys' success?
culture is a crazy thing. If you have one guy slacking, then the whole ship is going to fall. So it's an accordance of everybody on the same page, being collective towards one goal, and trying to hold the highest standard all at the same time. And that's why the recruiting process is so important, because let's say you don't do your due diligence and you just bring in random kids.
Right.
Like, you don't know how detrimental that can be to your culture. And like, sure, you might have one good year of playing soccer with those guys, but eventually that's going to develop bad habits, and then your program can be, kind of on lockdown for the next couple years or so until you find that right group again.
Right.
So I think, but the big special thing about our culture is that everyone loved hanging out around everyone. Mm-hmm. Like, it wasn't like a person was excluded from anything. Everyone enjoyed being around everyone. Right. And I think that kind of shows in training sessions, and it also shows in the games. I think our bench was by far the most supportive out of anybody's in the college game. Everyone wanted the best for each other, and we were all trying to reach one goal. And I think that's a big contributor to why our team was so successful this year, is because our culture really drove that.
So part of that culture piece as well, I mean, when you're around the team or doing something organized, so to speak, But what about when guys have off time and the team scatters and they're out on their own? How do you guys kind of man that, police that, make sure that no one's doing something that's detrimental to the end goal, what you're trying to do on the field? Something doesn't creep in where maybe they get in trouble and then they're not able to play. How do you guys deal with that as far as it goes with your teammates?
I'd say for culture, like the best way I describe it is family. Like we'd send videos to each other of us doing fitness. Because like if you see, like I said, if you're with winning people, you're going to win. Like Jake Smith would send him sprinting around in circles, but it's funny, but it makes everybody want to run, you know? Like you don't want to be the guy that's
Sure,
not
yeah.
running.
Yeah.
And also like I say family because you're not going to tell a teammate what they're doing wrong. You're going to tell your brother what they're doing wrong. If Trev's like slacking or doing something wrong, then I'll tell him. Like if he was my teammate and I didn't care for him,
Right.
I didn't feel the need to tell him, then we're not going to get better.
Right.
You know, so being a family, our team was a family. If somebody was doing something wrong, somebody would tell him and set him straight. So
Yeah, and one thing, so the other co-captain that's not here, Ben Smith, I'd say one thing that he did a really good job of was, setting the team straight with things you can and can't do. So he was the guy, like a lot of
Tell
people.
me more about that. What they
Yeah.
can and can't do. That's really interesting to me.
So, I mean, during our season, like, obviously, like, no drinking, no drugs, no any of that stuff. And usually, like, I mean, guys obviously have free will. It's not like we're policing everyone around, but like guys would hold each other accountable,
Yeah.
like just like a brother to a brother would.
Right.
And iron would sharpen iron, and usually, like if a leader would say like, "Hey, that's not okay," like, "All right, let's focus up now." Like the rest of our team would say, "Hey, like we have respect for you. Like, all right, we'll do better next time." And so.
So it's a standard.
Yeah, exactly. And I'd say Ben Smith did a fantastic job of setting that standard. And even though a lot of people hated him at times, like he would take it as like it's better for the long run. And I know it might suck right now, but it's going to be better for the long
Yeah,
run.
you know, in business, like, I've got a bit of a business background, but in business, they talk about culture, and in sports, we talk about culture. And it's the same thing in both channels. And if you don't have the right culture, you can't execute your strategy. Okay, so if I have a business strategy about how I'm going to be successful with this product or service, but I don't have the right culture, I can't execute that strategy. And so you're saying the same thing, which is you've got to get everybody in this canoe rowing in one direction, in sync, to try and meet your goal and to get to your vision, get to your end point. And if you got guys fighting that canoe and paddling in the wrong direction, it's just going to take you off course. It's not going to make you as successful. But in the game of soccer, and you guys know this coming off Vermont, I think it was just one moment where they found that guy in that one moment, right? But your team collectively was so good. But imagine if you had a bunch of guys on your team that were taking plays off because they just are cutting corners. You'd have like 7 or 8 moments you're giving another team in a big game, and all of a sudden you find yourself losing 2-1 because of that one thing. But because you guys are so tight, and you guys knew the standard, you knew the culture, you knew what was expected, and you had the right guys, that culture was locked in so you could execute your strategy. I think for people that might be listening to this, this is a great lesson because where are you playing right now, and what influence can you have on your team to bring everybody together and make this family environment instead of being segregated and thinking you're going to go win big games? You guys, this is a wise message. I mean, this is magical because what you guys are talking about is how real success and how real winning happens.
And we've also seen people like on younger teams get recruited to our program, not just because they're a good soccer player, but because of how they lead and how they are as a person. So that goes, that's just a way bigger point that needs to be made.
Yeah.
Right.
That just isn't. So.
And the reality is, like what Mike was talking about, if these things weren't in place and guys were taking plays off, a multitude of guys, you wouldn't have been at the College Cup, probably.
Yeah, no way.
Because you wouldn't have had the success to get to where you guys
100%,
got.
Chris, 100%.
one thing I'd add is also like it comes from the leadership group, but everyone's a different leader. What we would always talk about is bringing the best of yourself, best version of yourself.
absolutely.
Like me and Trev aren't the same leaders, but I don't need to do what he's doing.
Right.
Like I don't need to be Trev. I need to be Ian, and I need to do what I do best and bring that version every day. And I think again, 4 or 5 years of that process of, okay, who am I? What's my best version? And figuring that out. And then you're 4 years in and you're making a College Cup because the entire team is figuring out the best version of themselves. And when you have everyone being their best and coming together as one unit, you're hard to beat.
Yeah. We're kind of short on time. So I want to circle back to kind of these building steps. You know, when you guys talked about when you were youth players and you were younger, you kind of got on this like-minded team to begin with, right? And then I was lucky I got to be able to coach you guys. I put you into this 3v3 environment, but I think we spent a lot of time on technique. You know, would you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
Because we had to have that foundation first, that technique right. And the repetition when you guys put in, it was a lot. I mean, I talk about the juggling I'd make you do, Ian. Tell the story.
Yeah, so I wasn't good at juggling growing up. And, like, I never had to juggle. I'd always dribble with it on the ground. And
Right.
when we'd practice with Mr. Wright, he'd make us juggle the ball, like, to the cone and back. And I could never do it. And
I'd make you do it in front of the team.
You may, again, like, being in front of guys that can juggle.
Right.
And you don't want to be the one guy that can't
course.
juggle.
Yeah, yeah.
So, again, I'm going
It was
over
on
the field.
purpose.
Yeah,
Of
I'm
course,
going over
yeah.
the field, and I'm practicing juggling. And it goes back to the same point. Like, are you going to be like, oh, like, whatever, I'm not good at juggling? Like being closed-minded or being a growth mindset, being like, okay, I'm not good at juggling. Like, let's go over to the field
Right.
and let's get 10, 15 juggles. As a 12-year-old, you're at the field trying to juggle it 12 times. And slowly but surely, I started catching up with Trev, who's getting 100 juggles. And I'm at 20, but at least I'm growing as a
Sure.
player, you know?
For sure. I think the direct correlations, you're going to get out what you put in,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The more you work, the repetition, especially if it's detailed and exactly what you're trying to accomplish.
And where I get a little bit, I think just when I think about kind of the growth of good players out there is I get a little nervous if the technique that they're actually repeating is actually right or wrong. You know, I think there's a lot of kids that may want this, but they just weren't in the they don't have the advantage of someone like Chris coming alongside saying, hey, listen, look how your foot is. If you practice this the wrong way and you're doing it the wrong way, you're just putting a bad habit in place. We spent so much time putting the right habits in place that you guys knew how to pass the ball, receive the ball, strike a ball, bend a ball, you know, all that stuff. And I think that's where we get a little bit concerned is, you know, I mean, you're a fantastic, incredible player, incredible coach. You've seen it because you've had all that, and you see the kind of the stuff that's gone wrong. And so if you practice that wrong, you're just reinforcing something wrong.
Yeah. And then the older you get, the harder it is to break those habits.
Yeah.
So it's trying to instill the correct technique and these types of things at an early age as your foundation so you can build on that.
Yeah.
Continue to refine as you get older, but at least you have a good, stable foundation.
Yeah. And then I think once you have that foundation, you can start to really enjoy the game because you're not fighting these bad habits that are causing the ball to bounce up, bad first touch, because your ankle's in the wrong positions, right? You guys had that so you could go enjoy the game on the tactical side, and you're not fighting the game that's in front of you. Like whatever presents itself in the game might require you to have a good first touch and to dribble the ball, right? And you guys were capable of doing what the game said you needed to do. And that's where I think we might not have enough time for every individual player, and that's where they might have to seek that extra help.
Supplemental help. Yeah, absolutely. And I think, too, it becomes frustrating for a coach if tactically he wants to play a certain way. You know, case in point, get the ball wide, provide service from the flanks, have guys crash in and look to get on the end of it. But if when you get the ball wide, your winger can't beat a player 1v1, or maybe he can beat or she beat someone 1v1, but then the service is poor behind the net to the goalkeeper, that becomes a source of frustration.
Yeah.
So these are the types of things at a younger age if you can focus on building that technique, getting them in place, then obviously you'll be more valuable and continue to progress properly.
Yeah, you guys are so right to that point. I mean, we have guys on our team that are just physically different and just like gifted from above, but they just like came in with zero technique. And if they had that foundation, they would have gone straight to the pros, I'm sure. Like I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure you can, attest to that as well.
Well, I think like you guys talked about, technique is everything. Like if you can trap and pass a ball, like we're still working on that, and we're gonna be hopefully professional soccer players.
Yeah, right.
And we're still working on that. We're still dribbling
course.
through cones. Like we're still doing drills that we're doing at 6 years old. It's like that's the stuff you need to drill and just keep getting better at. Because if you're good at that stuff, like I don't need to do 5,000 scissors to beat a player. I can take my first touch one way. He tries to block my pass. I cut it inside and I run around him.
Right.
Like it's not about being crazy with moves. Can you have deception with your first touch, which is from repetition, 6, 7, 8 years old, to being able to trap a ball and pass it.
Right. And you guys are lucky to have that support when you grew up. And hopefully iATAC, right? We can provide some of that on a large scale. So final comments, final questions.
I just, for me, once again, we started off saying it's an exciting time for you guys.
Yeah.
And tomorrow is a massive day. So, I hear all the time, like when someone gets drafted or they go to the pros, it's like now the hard work starts. And it's like for me, it's all process oriented. I mean, you've been working hard for several years, and it's just the hard work continues, just at a different level, a different capacity. So I'm excited. I can't wait till tomorrow afternoon and see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, great day for my son, and you put so much work into it, Trev, and Ian, you've been on, every step of the way. So tomorrow's a big day, and a lot of what you said, Chris, the process, the amount of effort you guys have put. Trev, you didn't mention the 6 a.m. training sessions before school you go out and do. To be a great player, you guys, that's why you're on this podcast, is you guys are showing the world that listens to this podcast what it really takes. I'm blessed to see firsthand the commitment both of you guys had, and how much work you put into it, the performance. You didn't even touch on nutrition and sleep, but I know you guys take care of your bodies that way. Hydration. We were talking earlier about LMNT, and how you guys drink that particular, supplement to really make your bodies be able to go. But I've seen it firsthand what you guys do, and it's been an honor. And tomorrow is just going to be a great day. Whatever happens is meant to happen.
Yep.
And you know what? You guys have options. You can go back to school. You guys can look at the MLS or the MLS or the USL, whatever. But the fact that you have options is so awesome, man. That you guys just a tribute to being student athletes, and being able to have options is just what you guys put into it. What about you guys? Any final words? Any words of wisdom to kids that are out there? You got young kids, 8 to 12, 14 to 17, and you got kids that are trying to get recruited. What are your final comments just for anybody listening, and just how you can help out the game and give back with your words?
Yeah, I would say that, the competition out there is so intense for so many few opportunities that the game of soccer provides in the United States. So I'd really take advantage of this resource, and I think it will help a lot of people get to where they want and who they aspire to be as a soccer player. So definitely take advantage of iATAC. I think you guys are doing it the right way. Awesome. And especially with the World Cup coming here.
Yeah. A lot of excitement.
Yeah, there's a lot of excitement in the game of soccer. So I'm excited to see where this goes, and
Thank you.
hopefully come back on here again.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
for sure, man. Ian, what do you got?
The one thing I'd say is it's your journey. Like it's your career. You don't have to be on the same level as somebody else your age. Like there's guys that are already pro that are Trev and I's age, but that's their journey. That's not our journey. And I'd say, like Trev said, iATAC's the perfect way to go after it. Like you can learn a lot. Like we didn't have that resource as a kid.
Right.
Like we didn't get to see a podcast with guys that are turning pro, have played at the highest level in college, and I think the resources are there. Like it's just whether you want to go after it and get it. And I think it's your journey. So you just got it's God's timing. It doesn't have to be somebody else's.
Good. Guys, thank you so much.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thanks.
fellas.
Thanks, guys.